and welcome to today's webinar. My name is Henry McCorkle, and I serve as Vice President of Membership and Marketing at FACM. We are so glad that you could join us today for this special session introducing KidVision Pre-K, a valued business advocate member of FACM. Before we begin, I want to take a moment to thank you all for being a part of FACM. Our goal is to support early childhood education centers and business owners with resources, partnerships, and information to help you better serve your teachers and students. With that, it is my pleasure to turn it over to Janesi from South Florida PBS, who's going to provide us with some history and data about KidVision Pre-K. Janesi, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Henry. So good afternoon to all, and thank you for joining the South Florida PBS KidVision Teachers Association webinar. Thanks to FACM, South Florida PBS is able to share with you today the great professional development opportunity that is KidVision Teachers Association through its virtual field trips. So thank you, Henry and Joyce, for allowing us the chance to present to FACM members. To start off, I would like to share with you some information about the creation of this groundbreaking teacher professional development program. So let's just start with the creator. Penny Burnett, or as teachers, parents, and kids know her, Miss Penny, visualized KidVision Pre-K 17 years ago while working toward a doctorate degree in instructional leadership at Nova Southeastern University. Basically, her goal was to create an online professional development program for preschool teachers. At the time, she also worked for NSU's Early Childhood Professional Development Department, which her job entailed going to failing preschools and creating professional development programs for schools. What she realized was that overwhelmingly what preschool teachers needed was to learn the Florida Early Learning and Developmental Standards. They needed to learn them, and they needed to learn how to teach them. So she identified 4 key barriers to the success of professional development programming. One that I'm sure you're familiar with: money, time, transportation, and childcare. Therefore, she created an online training that teachers could do at home at their own pace at an affordable price. And this was 17 years ago when virtual learning was not even a thing. The core outcome of the training is to learn the Florida standards taught through real-world experiences using interesting and very entertaining, fun virtual field trips that matched typical preschool themes. So teachers could watch them, then learn, and then show them to their class and be able to teach the standards based on those field trips. So each field trip learning module includes an instructional video for the teacher, lesson plans, student assessments, and take-home pages, both in English and in Spanish. South Florida PBS, which at the now Ms. Penny worked for South Florida PBS as the education director, partnered with the Florida Association of Child Care Management to certify continuing education units, or CEUs, as most commonly known. Now, KidVisionPreK.org went online in July of 2007 with only 4 field trips learning modules. And currently, there are 160 field trips. So basically, we've been adding 10 field trips per year for the last 16 years. This is a true success story. Today, there are over 80,000 registered users on KidVisionPreK.org and growing. And as you can see there, not only do we have the KidVision virtual field trips on the website, we also have them on YouTube. We have a Games app. We have a KidVision Early Learning app. And the numbers are just growing because of the value that they bring to teachers. So without further ado, Miss Penny will share with you all the details that you need to know. Take it away.
Thank you, Janesi. Hi, everyone. I'm very happy that you're here and glad to show you KidVision Pre-K. We're going to start I'm basically going to walk you through the website so that you know and understand how to use it and why to use it. And then at the end of the session, we'll take questions and answers. So this is our front page, our home page, and it just has videos of different field trips that we've taken to show you, and it tells you to click here to join the Teachers Association. So we're going to start by looking at the top. We're going to let's go to the About page. When we go to the About page, you'll see there's a Teachers Association that you can join for $40 per school year, which includes 10 CEUs, 100 in-service hours, membership in an early childhood association, which many people need, especially for the director's credential renewal, a monthly electronic newsletter that will tell you what are the latest things that we have produced, the new field trips that are out. We also do work with STEAM. We have STEAM summer learning series. We have music time and dance time. And so the monthly newsletter will tell you about that. And it'll also give you a calendar of virtual field trips that fit that year or fit that month. For instance, it's March, so we're going to talk about St. Patrick's Day today, and we went on a field trip to learn about how to do St. Patrick's Day, the Irish jig. So we're going to show you that today, but it'll have a whole list of things that are happening in the month that are typical preschool themes and how the virtual field trips will fit in. 100 of our virtual field trips are all based on typical classroom themes. I was a preschool teacher. I started many years ago when I had 2 young children and needed a job. And I went to NSU because it was the best preschool and started working there so my kids could go there for free. I'm sure many of you started in early childhood because of that. And so the first 100 field trips are really based on typical themes that I know that you will use in your classroom. And with each field trip, there's an instructional video that tells you what I just focus on 4 standards per field trip. The field trips are 8 to 10 minutes long. So each standard gets 2 to 3 minutes. And the instructional video will tell you what standard I taught, how I taught it, and how the children demonstrated competency. Another thing that you get, because we know vocabulary is so important, we have new words, and we also have an I Spy 360-degree video word game that I explain a word, and then kids can look all around the 360 with the 360 marker to try to find the word. We have lesson plans, student assessments, and take-home pages all in English and Spanish, because if English is not your first language, it's much easier for you to read and comprehend the lesson plans and student assessments in your native language. Also, the take-home pages are in English and Spanish because many of our families are Spanish. So that way we can include everyone that we know. The standard registration is completely free. You have all the things, all the virtual field trips and the instructional videos, the I Spy vocabulary words, the new words, the lesson plans, student assessments, take-home pages are all available to you. We're PBS. We want you to succeed. The only thing that you pay for in the Teachers Association are the CEUs and the in-service hours, because they need to be filed and paid for. And thanks to to FACM, we're able to offer those to you. And we pay them there's $40 per school year. The reason for that is we used to have it whenever you joined, when you went back to that month, and you could join again. But we found that getting the certificates to the CDA Council, to licensing, it made much more sense to do per school year. And actually, you could do all of them in a weekend if you wanted to. And so if you're at the last minute and it's June 1st and you need to have it by June 30th, you could join for the school year. But on July 1st, you'd have to rejoin again. Or you could just then go to the standard free membership. Okay, so let's go back to we're going to log in with my login so we can see what it looks like once you become a teacher. You registered as a teacher. Now since we're all preschool professionals, well, first I want to show, if you look at the very top line, it says, welcome, it has my name, profile, transcripts, and membership certificate. Let's look at the membership certificate, please. And hit the first one. And this is a membership certificate so that if you're asked by your director or by licensing, if you belong to a professional teachers organization, you have your membership certificate for the current year and the expiration date. And then if we go back again to transcripts, once you've done a training, a transcript will come up. There's a letter to the CDA department that tells you that it's for preschool, and for also we have for children 18 to 24 months, 2-year-olds, 3-year-olds, and 4-year-olds, all in English and Spanish. And that's kind of a cover letter to the CDA organization so that they know that they're ISET CEUs provided by FACM. And then the next page is all the modules you've completed and what you've earned. 1 in-service hour, each module, 100 module is worth 1 in-service hour and 0.1 CEUs. So if you do 10 of, you do all 100 of them, you get 10 CEUs and 100 in-service hours. So we'll go back again, please. And so now let's go to for preschool professionals, which you are. And we'll go to the first, we're just going to walk down these so that you can see what you have available to you. And the first one is teacher professional development. And these are all things that you may need as a teacher to help you with your teaching. First part, I talk about what you meet me and I tell you about my background, which is basically a mom who needed a job. So I went to preschool and fell in love with it. When my kids went on to kindergarten, they were like, "Are you going to public school?" I said, "No, I really like it here." So I stayed and they went on. I started, I didn't have any education when I started, any formal education. So I started college at NSU. I found out that if I worked there, I could go to school for free. So I started the day my son started kindergarten. I graduated with my master's the day he graduated from high school. So it was a long journey, but we all did our homework together and we were successful. And then they went on, my 2 children went on to college and are both professionals, which I have to say because I'm very proud of them. But anyway, on this page, so you have a link to the National Head Start Learning Outcomes Framework for both in English and in Spanish, the Florida Early Learning Developmental Standards for 4-year-olds and the standards for 0 to 5. We have a crosswalk between the Head Start outcomes and the Florida standards. And then the Administration for Children and Families and Office of Child Care federally has a document that has early learning standards for most states. So if you move to another state, you can find your standards there. Under KidVision Pre-K content and standards, we have all the learning units that we've done there and how they align to the field trips. So let's look at the first one. It's what Janacy showed you, the 100 field trips. And I want to tell you a little bit about how you can use this in your classroom when you're getting started. For instance, it's going to be the first days of school. So this isn't to take place of a book or to take place of the block area or to take place of art or anything. It's just to add to your curriculum and it will fit in with any curriculum that you're doing. So you're just starting out and school is about to begin. Field trips that would be appropriate might be the field trip to the playground, which goes over rules and regulations, number 74 or 73. And it tells you about how to behave on the playground and what you need. You might have to have water and a teacher has to have first aid equipment. And it gives kids a clue about when they go to the playground, what the expectations are for them there. You might want to go to the hair salon 45 because kids have probably gotten their hair cut and they can all share that experience and talk about it. It gives you something to talk about to improve language and communication, get to know each other a little bit better. Or you might go to the school bus depot on 82 because kids are going to be taking the bus for the first time. And so it tells about how to tell what your bus number is and how you should sit in the bus, how you behave in the bus, and who the bus driver is, and gives you lots of good pertinent information to get your year started off correctly. So that's just an example. And then of course we have lots of animals like Animal Farm, Animal Hospital, Animal Shelter. We have all kinds of great things that you can use. The bake shop, there's the grocery store. You can go to the bank to learn about money. And then in the spring, you can go to the beekeeper, or favorite summertime ones are to the beach, number 16, or to learn about doing the Hawaiian dance for when you have your luau at the end of the year, number 47. So you can just look through it and see what fits into your curriculum. We have the rainforest and a trip to the Amazon Rain River exhibit at a museum. So there's a lot of things that you can use for transportation, and there's a lot of doctor's offices. We go to the eye doctor and the dentist and the regular pediatrician. So you have a lot of 8 to 10 minute videos that can really help. And with each of those, there are 4 lesson plans, 4 student assessments, and take-home pages. So let's go back to the professional development page. So all of that is at your fingertips for you to figure out with. And also included is information about keeping professional portfolios, KidVision pre-K portfolios. As I said, with every field trip comes 4 lesson plans for 1-year-olds, 2-year-olds, 3-year-olds, and 4-year-olds. I went down the list of standards for each age group and followed them along so that if you have a child that's in the 4-year-old group, but they're not just quite there, you can use the 3-year-old lesson plans. But all these lesson plans, that's 400 lesson plans that you have just for one age group. You could compile them all into a notebook that is set up for language, math, science, social emotional development. Keep your lesson plans all together and write all over them because I teach differently than you would teach, but you could take my lesson plans, make them yours. And then if your director or someone comes in and wants to know, are you teaching the standards? You have a professional book of your own record that says, yes, I am teaching the standards. And then there's an assessment for each one of those for the kids. So you can say, if they say, well, how are your children doing? You actually have documentation on how each child has performed on those standards. And as you're going through the documentation, you can see if there's a child who's having specific reoccurring problems so that you can help them get back on the right foot. So these portfolios for both the lesson plans and the student assessments are for your own professional benefit to show that you are a teacher, you are teaching the standards that will prepare your children for kindergarten. And so now we'll go back to preschool professionals. The next one is earning your CEUs and in-service hours, which is really the name of this game. It's here for you, and that's why FACM is so important to us. And as you can see, for each of the 100 field trips, we'll go down a little bit. You can see that there's all kinds of activities there that you can do. The Animal Farm, the Amazon River, Animal Hospital, kids love that one. The Animal Shelter, Arch Creek Archaeology, which was really fun to dig around in Miami and find cool things, learning how to swim. So you choose one of those, and it doesn't have to, like I said, you could do all of these in one weekend. But let's go back to the top. And there's an instructional page that tells you, click here for training instructions so you know what to do. So you choose a field trip that you would like to take. Each field trip is worth 0.1 CEU or 1 in-service hour. You click start your training, and then it will go through it. It takes 30 minutes to 60 minutes, depending on who you are. We're all different. We all learn differently. The baby might be crying. You might have to answer the phone. Things happen. If you do stop the training, when you go back there, and you turn off your computer, when you go back, you'll have to start the training again. Because if we go down that page a little bit, This is what the training agenda looks like. There's a pretest on the 4 standards that are taught. Just read the standards, take the pretest. It doesn't matter if you get them right or wrong, but it's going to be the same test in the post-test. So you take the pretest, you watch the virtual field trip, paying attention to where those standards are. Then you'll watch the instructional video where I tell you what standards were taught, how they were taught, how children demonstrated competency. Then you'll go through the lesson plans for 1-year-olds, 2-year-olds, 3-year-olds, and 4-year-olds and check at the bottom of each box that you've read them. What you want to really pay attention to is reading the top of the lesson plan, because at the top of the lesson plan is the standard that is covered. And that's when you take your post-test, that's what you want. It's the standards that are on the 4-year-old lesson plans. You can take, it's only 4 questions. You can take it as many times as you need to till you get all 4 right. Once you get all 4 right, then you have successfully completed the program. At the end of that, just like with any CEU, there's a program evaluation, or you want to say a customer service survey, which says, did you like the training? Did it meet your expectations? Would you use it in your classroom? Things that give us information when we collect it at the end of the day to see how we can make ourselves better and fulfill your needs. And then when you finish it all, go back to the top of the page of where your transcript is and click on the dates, and your transcript should be added. If it's not, give it a day. It is technology. It's supposed to be instant. Sometimes it takes a day to appear there, but just know it's technology. It's not perfect, even though they say technology is perfect. It might take a minute, but we do have a customer service person who will answer any of your calls if you have any. So that's the training for CEUs. And when we ask for questions, if you have questions, I'll be happy to answer them. But now we're going to go back to preschool professional development. So we've done professional development CEUs. Now we're going to go right to the virtual field trips, because you might have already done all of your things. Now you want to show the field trips to your class. And we put them in nice collections so that you can find what you need. Animal collection, the arts collection, history and civics, culture collection, food, health. We can go down the list a little bit, please. Nature, science, sports, transportation. And once you hit that collection, we're going to go look at let's look at the culture collection, because St. Patrick's Day is right around the corner. And this is such a good field trip. I had a really good time on it. So we're going to hit the nature collection, and you'll see in the collection, there's African dance and music for African American Month, the Chinese New Year for when that comes around, and all these have lesson plans and student assessments with them. Flamenco dance for Hispanic Heritage Month, the Hawaiian dance for the end of the year. I always had a luau. I'm not sure what you guys do, but it's all about how to do the Hawaiian dance, and you can have your kids actually do the dance. Hip hop dancing, Irish dancing, which we're going to take a look at. The library, and a native Indian village. We went to the Seminole Indian village to find out about the history of the Seminoles in Florida. But let's hit the Irish Dance Academy. So you'll see on that page, we're going to watch a little bit of this field trip. But before we do, I want to show you that on the page, there's always a link to where we actually went. There's a little description of the field trip, and then there's a link to where the actual location was in case you wanted to look them up. And then we have supporting field trips. So you'll have the regular field trip. There's 4 new words per field trip, because we know vocabulary is so important for young children. It really is a benchmark to knowing that children are going to graduate if their vocabulary is good. And so what I do is take clips of the video and add it to a vocabulary word, usually 1 for each standard, so that they can then learn vocabulary as they go along. Then there's the standards video, where again, I talk about the standards and how we taught them and how the children learn them. There's a playful I Spy video game, again, vocabulary building and fun to play with. Then we took a field trip to a ballet school, and spent the day with a ballet teacher and found out about her job. And we went to a baton twirling group because my daughter twirls baton and it's a fun thing to learn. So I added that, it's my program. So you get to do things you want to do too. And if you have any ideas, please share them with me. So we're going to take a little we're going to do like half the field trip so that you can get a good sense of what a field trip looks like. This was done a little while ago, so I look a little younger then. But anyway, so let's watch it. Hi, I'm Penny.
Hi Penny, I'm Michael.
And these are the KidVision kids, and we're here today to find out about Irish dancing and a little bit about Ireland. Ireland is an island in the North Atlantic Ocean. Irish dancing is the traditional dance of Ireland.
Well, welcome to the Breffni Academy of Irish Dance. And we have the symbol of Ireland, the shamrock. And the shamrock is a small green plant that has 3 heart-shaped leaves. And it's the symbol also of St. Patrick's Day. And St. Patrick's Day is every year on March 17th.
What language do you speak in Ireland?
In Ireland, they speak a language called Gaelic.
Gaelic. How do you say Ireland in Gaelic?
Ireland in Gaelic is Éire.
Era. Can you say era? Era. We're going to learn about era today.
Very good.
How do you say welcome?
Welcome is Falcha Rowit.
Falcha Rowit. Great, we learned the word welcome and we learned about the word Ireland, and I see a very important word over here on this room.
Yes, that room is the bathroom, and that's Leiris.
Leiris. Perfect, I think we're ready to dance.
Perfect. All right, everyone, we're going to learn how to do the Irish jig. And we have Nicola. Nicola is one of the teachers at the Breffni Academy, and she's going to help us today, okay? So, one thing we need to do is we need to take our hands and put them out in the front and put them into a ball. And then take our arms and put them at our sides, nice and tight. And Irish dancing is the only dancing in the whole entire world that doesn't use its arms. Okay, now we're going to take our right foot, we're going to put our right foot in front of the left foot. And the other thing Irish dancers are known for is great carriage. And carriage means you stand up nice and tall with our arms in tight and our shoulders back, okay? So now we're going to take our right foot and pick up our right foot and lean forward. And then we're going to pick up our left foot and then lean back. Good job, girls. So now we're going to try that again for the very beginning. Okay, 1, 2, 3, go. Lean forward, lean back, step back. 2, 3, 4, lean forward, lean back, step back, 2, 3, 4, lean forward, lean back, step back, 2, 3, 4. And now the most fun part, now we're going to take up our right foot, swing it out as high as it can go, and then put it back behind our left foot, okay? So let's try that. So we're going to swing out our right foot as high as it can go. 1, 2, 3, go. Swing out, and then back. Good job. So let's try that again from the very beginning now, okay? Remember to smile, okay? 1, 2, 3, go. Lean forward, lean back, step back, 2, 3, 4. Lean forward, lean back, step back, 2, 3, 4. Lean forward, lean back, step back, 2, 3, 4. Swing out. And back. Now we have our left foot in the front. So now we're going to take our left foot, pick up our left foot, put it behind our right foot, and then march again. 2, 3, 4. All right, girls, we're going to try it to the music now. So hands on the ball, arms at our sides, right foot in front of the left foot. 1, 2, 3, go. Forward and back to 3, 4. Forward and back to 3, 4. Forward and back to 3, 4. Swing out and back to 3, 4. Good job. Let's try it again one more time, okay? Hands on the ball, arms at our sides, right foot in front of the left foot. Stand up nice and tall. 2, 3, go. Forward and back to 3, 4. Forward and back to 3, 4. Forward and back to 3, 4. Swing out and back to 3, 4. Great job, girls. That's the Irish jig.
That's the Irish jig. So that's an example, and you can see right there, the standards are pretty obvious. The first one is about social studies. It's about learning that your culture speaks one language and another culture speaks a different language, and we learn some words. And using this video, the second one is following 2 and 3 step directions. And at the same time, you could use that video and run it a few times just right there and have your whole class stand up and learn the Irish jig. How fun would that be? And so the videos are there, but they can also come alive right in your classroom. You can use them. You can rename your bathroom Laris or do different things now that they know that the shamrock is the symbol of St. Patrick's Day. There's so many ways to use these videos to embellish them and to use them in your classroom for language and communication besides just having a video. So I wanted to show you that. And then let's go down to the lesson plans and the assessments. These are all your classroom tools. So let's look at the take-home pages. Now, this is the homeschool connection because we want, yes, there's a reason for them. They're in English and Spanish. A lot of teachers use them for the Spanish-speaking kids in the class can read them in Spanish to the English speakers, and they make it kind of a little Spanish lesson in the classroom, which I love to see. And I think it's a very easy way to put that in. And then kids are learning letters because they're writing their names. They're practicing the comprehension because we're talking about at the end of each one, we ask, what did you learn during this field trip? Good thing about that, it's really for the pre-test or the test for kindergarten readiness. They give the child a paragraph and then they ask them, what was that paragraph about? So it helps them start to comprehend what they're seeing and learning about and being able to speak it back. You're doing vocabulary review. I'm sure you saw some of the vocabulary words in that clip. So you can turn the page over and use the back and write new vocabulary words that the kids learned while they were watching the field trip. They perform fine motor and writing skills as they color the page. Or my favorite story is that my child she never colored the page. She always covered everything around it because she liked to draw rainbows and clouds and flowers and butterflies. And I always ask her, why don't you color the picture? That's what you're supposed to do. And she's like, oh, but they already drew the picture. I want to draw my own pictures. So every child will do it differently. And they engage in language and communication because you took it from a screen where the whole class watched together to now it's you and the child having a conversation, or the parent and the child having a personal conversation about something that you shared together, something you saw together. So they're valuable. Let's take a look at these two for this. Each field trip has 2 pages because kids might like different things. And this one, later on, we'll meet their world performers, and they have amazing costumes. And so here you can color your costume, or if you want to, you can put sunshine and rainbows all around it for a nice day. And I ask, what do you remember about the field trip? One thing I want to encourage you is don't fix the sentence. When you ask them, what did you learn? Write it exactly as they said it. And that way you'll see language development throughout the school year. If you fix the sentence every time they say it, you'll know that your language is fine, but you won't see development in their language. So it's another way to use this paper, this take-home page, for your evaluation of the child. And it could be kept in the books if you see that there's a child that's learning language and how to put sentences together. On the second page of this one is a shamrock. And we learned about shamrocks. You know that it's a green plant from Ireland and it has 3 heart-shaped leaves. And so you can talk about the heart shapes. You can color them in. You could use crepe paper, crayons, or markers, or however you want to do it. And again, what happened during the field trip. So you have this worksheet for yourself or to send home with your parents, because your parents can watch it on YouTube for free. So when you send this home, you can say that we saw the Irish field trip on YouTube, and they can look it up and they can watch it with their children. And then again, it just stimulates language and communication. And now we'll go to the lesson plans. So here's lesson plans. They're 4-year-olds, 3-year-olds, 2-year-olds, and 1-year-olds. This was a lot of work, but I went down the standards for 1s, 2s, 3s, and 4s, following the pattern and making it easier and easier and easier so it could start. And then if you had a child that wasn't quite doing the 4s, they could do the 3s or the 2s, or you could figure out where they were at. They're in English and Spanish, so a teacher could use it in their native language so that it would be easier for them. And let's take a look at the 4-year-old ones briefly. We saw the first one. It was, and this is the standard that's going to be on the test. The standard was cognitive development and general knowledge, social studies, individual development, and identity begins to recognize and appreciate similarities and differences in people. The objective was children will demonstrate recognition of similarities and difference in people. We recognized that Irish people in Ireland speak a different language than we do. And that's okay. But it's just showing it's not, Spanish isn't the only second language. There are a lot of different languages. I also put on there the page number of the standard if you wanted to look it up completely, because actually this was my dissertation for my doctorate degree. So everything is very thorough. And then there's materials. When I was going out to preschools, and I began my career having to take CDA in order to work in the classroom, and I ended my career there teaching CDA. And along with teaching CDA, I worked in the professional development department. So when schools were failing, they would come to Nova, and I was the person that would go to the school, hang out, find out what their weaknesses and strengths were, and develop a professional development specifically for that school. And mostly what they needed to know was what the standards were and how to teach them appropriately to their children. So that's how this all came about. So I saw preschools that only had broken crayons and newspapers as their classroom materials, to preschools like Nova, who had everything a preschool could ever want. So I try to make the materials very, very basic. And with each lesson plan, you're going to create a bulletin board so that people can see learning. I believe you have to see what you're doing so that people know that you're on track. And then when you take it all down, you put it in your either your lesson plan notebook, or you put it in your student assessment notebook. So those materials don't go to waste. You're both using it to display what you're doing, and then you're using it to keep as documentation for your professional work. And so go down to, that's how and then the second lesson plan, we'll just look at that because we actually saw it. That was doing the Irish jig. And the video segment was kids in the group learning the Irish jig, language communication, merchant literacy, listening and understanding follows multi-step directions. The children will demonstrate following multi-step directions. Again, they're going to watch the video, they're going to watch it over and over, and they're going to learn how to do the Irish jig, which was really pretty fun to do. So we'll go, and so that as they go down, you'll see there's a lesson plan for each of the 4 segments. Next, we learned what's in the surprise bag. Their World Academy, they have a world dance team. And so we had them open their bags when they're dancing and find what was in their bag. So here we have children that they can make a bag that's all stuff about St. Patrick's Day and describe it. And then the last one was about river dancing. At the end, the professional team does their tap dancing for their river dance. So here I have to get a couple pair of old shoes, like at Salvation Army, and some pennies and a hot glue gun, and put them on the bottom of the shoes so they sound like tap shoes, and then have the kids dance around in the tap shoes. And that's creative expression through the arts. Cognitive development and general knowledge, because then they can just dance and it helps them move their feet. It's actually gross motor also, but how fun is that during St. Patrick's Day to be able to pretend you have tap shoes on and play. And so now let's go to the assessments. So as I said, we're going to look at the student assessments for 4-year-olds. They're both in English and Spanish. In the beginning, there's a page for teachers that are not sure how to do assessments. We're looking for evidence. So we want student quotes, teacher observations, anecdotal notes, and work samples. And as you see a page, let's go to the first assessment page. This is for the first one. It's student assessment number 1 that goes with the lesson plan number 1. The standard is the same. The assessment question, what is the child saying and doing that demonstrates recognition of similarities and differences in people? Here we're focusing on language. So you write the student's name, a student quote, your observation if they understood it, the different languages, and if they mastered it, if it's emerging, or it's just not evident at all. And again, you keep these for each thing. So, and if you have to turn around and use the back of the page, I'm a firm believer in using both sides of the page. And then at the very bottom of each lesson plan, you'll see that I give another activity for that standard because not everybody gets that. So maybe something else will stimulate it. So here, invite parents from varying cultures to come in and talk about their culture. Ask them to bring examples of clothing, toys, or special items that demonstrate differences and similarities in different cultures. So each lesson plan and standard, or each assessment also has another activity. So if that activity didn't quite work for a child, you have an alternate activity to try. And there's blank pages on the teacher development page. There's blank pages, so you could make one for these if you wanted to. Okay, so that's we'll go back to professional development. So here we've gone through professional development, earned CEUs and in-service hours. We went to field trips, and now we have a page of training videos. These are random videos that I've done through the years that I thought would be helpful. First one is about me and my story, which is so typical to most preschool teachers, I think, of why you get in there. Then I talk about the Teachers Association, how it came about, and how to use it. I did a video for parents and how they can use it because especially during the pandemic, it was up to them to teach their children. Also, at the same time, a lot of teachers didn't know how to use Zoom to teach children. So I did a video about that, which I think everybody's got Zoom down at this point. If you go down a little bit further, we'll just go down the page. I did the training myself and filmed it. Then there were a couple of teacher testimonials. I did a video about the importance of play, which I think it's all about play is how children learn. And then if you go down a little bit more, here's about how to run a summer camp using the videos. I went to one school. It was so cool. They had 4 classrooms. One was the fire station, one was the sheriff's office, one was the pediatrician, another one was another one of my field trips. And I did the lesson plans and they spent a week in there doing it. And then they switched classrooms. And then at the end, after all the classrooms had rotated, they changed it to another KidVision field trip. It was like my dream come true. It made me so happy. And the kids learned and they loved it. And it worked out for them because then the curriculum was really already written for them. And they knew they were still following the standards. And then for a presentation I did process art from the heart, which you can see for 1-year-olds, 2-year-olds, 3-year-olds, and 4-year-olds. So these are just extra videos that you might find helpful. So we'll go back to preschool professionals and resources. And resources, there's connection to the National Head Start Association, to South Florida PBS Kids, PBS Parents, PBS Learning Media. And if we go down the page a little bit further, excuse me, you'll see the Florida Department of Early Learning, and of course, FACM and CDA renewal. So if you need information about renewing your CDA, you can go there. It takes you right to the page. And we'll go back to preschool professionals. We're on YouTube. If you go to the South Florida PBS page or just type in KidVision Pre-K. This is the South Florida PBS page, and you can see that we have playlists. And on here we don't just do field trips. We did a whole series on KidVision feelings to find out how, because after the pandemic and during the pandemic, kids were feeling differently. So we wanted to explore that. And we did 12 different feelings, and we talked to kids about how they felt inside and outside, and we gave them coping skills. We do music time every year, and this year we're learning about Bach and Beethoven and a bunch of different composers, classical music composers. We did a dance time series about dances around the world for kids to learn about, an art room series where we did art activities from famous artists. KidVision Mission is a half-hour TV show that shows on Saturday and Sunday mornings at 9:30. Check it out. They're very good. We're just finishing season 3. I have high hopes for it. And every summer we do Full Steam Ahead, which are all STEAM activities. The new words are there if you just wanted to look through vocabulary words. Our 360 I Spy videos, they're there. I did a series on healthy habits and on Water Smart. We can watch a Water Smart one. I just want to watch it because I think it's a good one. Let's see if there's the one for kids. With so many pools, lakes, canals, and beaches in South Florida, you have to do your part and be water smart.
Do your part, be water smart.
If there is a pool and it has a gate, walk away, don't open it. That would be great.
Do your part, be water smart.
Don't go in the water if you are all alone. Find a water watcher to keep an eye on the zone.
Do your part, be water smart.
You can learn to float, but swimming is better. You can find your lessons at the recreation center.
Do your part, be water smart. Do your part, be water smart. Do your part.
I just had to show that because that's probably my first and last rap song. So as you can see, oh, and we have a learning app, which I have to bring up because everything I've ever done for KidVision is on this learning app. It's for kids, parents, and teachers. It's free. Download it today, please. It's really a good app, and you can go through it and find everything that you just saw right there, except your CEUs. But it does have a link to the Teachers Association so that you can go there to get to the Teachers Association and earn your CEUs. So that is my basic presentation, and I hope you learned something, and I hope that you find this valuable for yourself, and I'm open to any questions.
Well, thank you, Penny, for sharing this wonderful information with FACM members. I personally learned so much from that presentation, and I'm sure that our attendees did as well. So with that, we do have a little bit of time left, and if there are any questions from the audience, we would love to hear those. So you're welcome to type questions into the chat. You can also raise your hand, and we'd be happy to bring you on video to ask your question if you'd like to do that. But with that, let's see if there's any questions from the audience here.
I have a question. Do you think it would be valuable for your use?
Yeah, so feel free to reply in the chat if you feel as though, these resources would be valuable for your center.
Or any additions that they feel that would be helpful? We're good?
Quiet group today.
It's a quiet-
So
Don't be afraid. I'm a preschool teacher too. I'm one of you. I'm happy to talk to you. And honestly, if you have a school and you're a director and you want your teachers to join KidVision and to get their CEUs, or just to have it available to them for free to join to get the lesson plans and that, I would be happy to do a presentation to your school.
So that's wonderful, Penny, to offer that resource to our members, and I hope that someone watching today will take Penny up on that, because that seems like it would be really valuable.
Great.
All right. Well, it doesn't seem like we have any burning questions from the audience, and that's okay. What I would like to do is, if it's okay with you, Penny, put your contact info up on the screen for everyone. So
Yes.
if there are any follow-up questions that come up, they can reach out to you. So I'll go ahead and do that now for everybody here. Let's see. Right. There we go. And as we're wrapping up, I just want to thank you, Penny, and Janice, for sharing this valuable information with our membership today. To all of our attendees, this presentation is being recorded, and we will send the recording out to all of you. So hopefully it will, be a continual resource for you moving forward. And again, if any additional questions arise, feel free to reach out to Penny, or you can reach out to anyone on the FACM team, and we can direct your question to Penny as well.
And I want to thank Victoria for running the videos and the website. She's very good at that. Thank you, Victoria.
Victoria was behind the scenes and making it all happen today. So wonderful job.
She is.
All right. Well, with that, thank you again, everyone. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your afternoon, and we look forward to seeing you again soon.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.